Alright, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's the Wednesday podcast. Let's talk about and I grade Ohio State's performance against whoever they play. And last week they played Marshall at home, so I'm gonna be giving my grading on offense, defense, coaching, and special teams. So let's get right into it. For the offense, I think they actually got an A. I think Howard, he played great. He went 16 for 20. So a really good completion percentage of like 80%, 275 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he had a rushing touchdown. So, Howard, I think he's been playing great. I think he's been playing actually past people's expectations, and I think it's crazy to think that at one point this offseason people were saying Devin Brown was going to be the starter because we all know that was just not true, and it's clearly evident. Howard, he did have a pick. I think it could have been Jeremiah Smith's fault, but it just looked like the route, he wasn't, I think Joel Klatt was talking about this. He just wasn't expecting the ball, really. And he kind of slowed down. I think it wasn't actually a bad throw. I think he just also didn't really make a play for it. But, yeah, that's his interception. So, you just got to move on. It's not that big of a deal, but it does kind of sting a little bit for him. But, I think he played great. And I think he's been playing great. So, pretty confident with Howard so far this season. Judkins and Henderson, they look insane. I talked about it on my Monday podcast, but, they both had 2 touchdowns. Judkins had 173 yards on 14 carries, and Henderson had 76 yards on 6 carries. I think they're just playing great. The fact that they can both play and alternate drives and even switch out mid-drive, it's so hard to guard that because they both are good runners, but for different reasons. Judkins is a little more able to go into contact and break free, but Henderson, he's more of like a juke you out and then get free. So, defensive schemes are going to have to change no matter who's in. So, being able to switch those guys out is going to be really important, and it's hard to stop that. Igbuka went 4 for 5 on his catches, had 117 yards and a touchdown, and I've been waiting for Igbuka to get a touchdown this year. He's been waiting for one. He should have had one against Akron, but it's great to see him get some. Smith was 3 for 4 on his catches, 70 yards and a touchdown as well. I mean, what can you say? He's a great receiver. And then Carnell Tate also went 4 for 4, and he had 64 yards receiving. So, wide receivers played great. Not much to really complain about there. The O-line was fully healthy this week, and you could tell that they were doing pretty good. They were getting a really good push, and, it's kind of evident that when the O-line's healthy, the running backs also played the rest game, so pretty good correlation right there. It's great to see that, man. We need the O-line to play great this year. And then I'm going to give the defense a B-. We had 2 sacks and 1 forced fumble. We didn't get it, but still, that was good. The D-line didn't really seem to play great. Missing Tyleik Williams is really impactful, and that was evident. This was by far the worst defensive line game performance we've seen all year. Marshall ran for 125 yards on us, and the quarterback design runs especially killed us. And that could be a problem against teams like Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, where they all have run-heavy quarterbacks. And eventually in the playoffs, if we get to the playoffs, teams are gonna have running quarterbacks like Alabama. Just teams, a lot of teams who have running quarterbacks. Ohio State typically doesn't do well against, so. The defense is going to have to step up with that. Specifically, the D-line needs more penetration for sure, but also the linebackers just got to do better at, containing the quarterback. So, that's interesting. That's a thing I saw. I thought defense, quite frankly, should have done better about. They gave up a rushing touchdown as well, so that kind of sucks. I thought the DBs didn't play that well either. I think they played good. There wasn't really any noticeable, big plays except for a few. But, it just seemed like sometimes they looked sloppy and just, weren't trying. We gave up 139 passing yards and a touchdown. So, overall, I didn't think we necessarily played terrible on defense. But going into next week, they certainly have to play better against a Big Ten team. That's not Marshall. So, yeah, that's my takeaway. That's why I'm giving them a B-. Special teams. Special teams was bad this week. I'm giving them an F because this was just a terrible performance. Jaden Fielding, what was he doing? He kicked it out of bounds 3 times. That's terrible. And then eventually Austin Snyder had to come in because he was doing so bad. That's not what you want to see from a starting kicker who's a junior and it's been playing at least for the past 2 seasons. So that's not good, especially. And on top of that, it's the 3rd game of the season, bro. You should not be doing this. If it was against Akron, like once or twice, it's fine. This is the 3rd game of the year. We're almost going to conference play now, and you're kicking it out of bounds. Like, what are you doing? I mean, he made the extra points, but like, whatever. And also on top of that, Brandon Ennis, he dropped a punt, which was thankfully got called back, but it might have been a little controversial. I don't know if his shot should have gotten taken back. To be quite honest with you. But, it was terrible. And overall, I just think they did really bad that game on special teams, and we'll just have to hope they do better next week because that's not what you want to see. I'm going to give the coaching an A- because, yet again, Chip Kelly's offense just continues to impress me. He's finding new ways to get the ball out quickly that Ohio State fans haven't really seen at all in recent years. And it's just... And he's doing it in ways that aren't just screen passes, The way he uses our star players, specifically, like, the running backs and wide receivers, and quarterback also. Like, just everybody. He just utilizes the players in a way that lets them get the most value out of them and gets them the best chances to make plays with the talent they have. So, that's amazing. I like to see. And I think Chip Kelly's doing amazing so far this year. And that is evident in the stat line, too. Running backs both having... 2 touchdowns each, both of them almost having 100 yards rushing. So, or Travion almost had 100 yards rushing. So, that is insane. Wide receivers have been playing great, and Howard, he utilizes Howard's ability to run. He'll like do options plays and have designated runs for Howard because he knows that Howard's running ability is just another thing that defenses have to worry about. So I'm liking that out of him for sure. So Chip Kelly played coaching great so far. Jim Knowles, I don't think he did bad necessarily, but it was so obvious when they wanted to do a design quarterback run. Like, I would say, hey, this guy's about to just run it was like 3rd and 3 a lot of times, and they would just have the quarterback go out right up the middle or go out to the left and just run it left or right. And I just don't know why we weren't stacking the box more because, or having at least a quarterback spot on him. Their quarterback couldn't really throw that well. No shade on him, but, we should have just we knew they were going to run after, like, the first drive. Like, he was just going to keep running. So, I just think he should have adjusted that midway through the game. But, other than that, it wasn't bad. I would have liked to see him be a little bit more aggressive with blitzes to try and, disrupt the O-line of Marshall and, maybe cause more chaos every now and then that they probably weren't expecting, and they didn't really see that all game. So, that's evident with only getting, like, a sack. So, other than that, it wasn't bad. At the end of the day, giving up 2 touchdowns isn't bad, especially when the offense scores 49 points. So, yeah. And overall, I think Ohio State gets a B. I just think, for special teams and defense, they kind of take this ranking down. And it was kind of a lackluster performance against a team that we should have beat by a lot more. The defense should have been better. The special teams couldn't kick the ball in bounds. And, the offense played really good. And the coaching was pretty well as well. So, overall, I think a B is pretty fair. They got a lot of improve against Michigan State this week. But overall, we won 49-14. But when you go more in depth, you realize it was a little bit not as well as the score might have shown. So, that's my grading of Ohio State. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you agree with this or if you just like my content. And thanks for watching. Bye.